Welcome to CNN 10. I'm Carl Lazus. This is our second and last show of the week. Afterward, we'll be off for Thanksgiving until next Monday, November 26th. Today marks 2 weeks since Americans went to the polls in the 2018 midterm elections, and we're still getting results. Before the vote, Republicans controlled the House of Representatives with 236 seats, and Democrats held 193 seats. In the midterms, Democrats won 232 seats and control of the House. Republicans won 200 seats. The races for 3 House seats are still undecided. Before the vote, Republicans controlled the Senate with 51 seats. Democrats and 2 independents who vote with them held 49 seats. In the midterms, Republicans increased their control of the Senate. They'll hold 52 seats. Democrats will have 47 seats. The race for 1 Senate seat is still undecided. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat from New York, were both reelected to their current positions in the Senate. And in the House, Representative Kevin McCarthy, a Republican from California, was chosen to lead his party as House Minority Leader. But there are some questions about who will lead the House's new Democratic majority. Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat from California, has held the job of House Speaker before, and she wants it again. President Donald Trump, a Republican, has also offered to help Representative Pelosi by encouraging Republicans in the House to vote for her. The president has called Pelosi tough and smart and said Democrats were playing games with her, but those who oppose Pelosi may have other plans.
For congressional Democrats, Nancy Pelosi has been a huge power player for more than 15 years in the House of Representatives. Just look at some of the positions of leadership she has held. And in those positions, she has wrangled votes for a lot of issues Democrats really care about. Health care reform, credit card and banking regulation, tobacco regulations, the Fair Pay Act, food safety, and much more. She's also brought in a ton of money for her party. This is reportedly her haul for the party just for the midterm election, all of which is why her supporters say, yeah, she's the natural leader, make her the speaker again. But there is opposition in her own party, and here are some of their concerns. First of all, they say she is a lightning rod for Republicans. Her district near San Francisco is much more liberal than the rest of the country. On top of which they say she's simply too much about the past, about old grudges, old ideas, old coalitions, and they say there are plenty of other Democrats out there who could maybe bring in new ideas if she simply would step aside. Now, right now, the people who are trying to oppose her in her own party do not have enough votes to stop her from being chosen as the party's candidate for the speaker. They have their own vote first. She would easily win that. But when it comes out here onto the general floor, for the general vote where Republicans get to play too, if 17, 18, 19 of these opposition forces in her own party said they would absolutely not vote for her, that could keep her from getting the majority she needs. And that could force either concessions from her or possibly an entirely different pick by the Democratic Party.
Second trivia. Which of these energy sources generates the most electricity in the U.S.? Nuclear power, natural gas, coal, or renewables like wind and solar power? Generating just over 32% of America's electricity, the largest percentage is natural gas. That's according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, which also says that coal is the second largest electricity source, generating about 30% of America's power. A renewable called biomass generates less than 2%. Harvesting it, moving it, storing it, making sure it produces a consistent amount of energy, those have been ongoing challenges for scientists looking to use biomass. But the biomass industry is hoping to change that.
There's so many non-utilized waste streams in this world. We have food waste, we have transportation waste. There are endless amounts of byproducts that are currently not utilized.
What if you could power your home and live completely off the grid by just using your own trash? Each year, over 1 billion tons of solid waste is produced globally. That's expected to double by 2025. And of the 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic produced worldwide, only 9% is recycled. But to this German startup, our trash is their treasure.
The initial vision that we had was to build a power plant that is truly mobile, that it can convert all the waste and turn it into clean energy right on site.
N-Trade's power plants can fit entirely inside a 20-foot shipping container and mainly run on biomass. Biomass is a renewable organic resource that comes from plants and animals and can be turned into fuel. Ulig and his team work to identify local waste streams. Anything from manure to discarded lumber to yard trimmings, and even peanut shells can do the trick.
We crush it, we dry it, and then we pelletize it.
These biomass pellets are what N-Trade's power units run on. The company has also developed the technology to use non-organic waste as fuel. By taking plastic that would otherwise end up in landfills and combining it with other green waste, they claim their units can produce enough electricity to power homes, neighborhoods, and factories.
And then we put it into our reactor, and it only stays there for a few seconds before it totally converts into a natural gas replacement.
It's a process called gasification. When plastic goes into a small reactor, it burns at extremely high temperatures, breaking down its polluting particles. The result? A hot gas that is then used to create electricity. N-Trade sees potential in countries dealing with large amounts of plastic pollution. But figuring out the right mixture of plastic and biomass can be complicated and is still being tested. The company wants to take their mobile power units one step further. Their newest unit is a mini power plant about the size of a fridge.
We were always thinking of this power unit you can bring to the middle of nowhere, plug it in, use all the waste you find around it, pelletize it, and you have a complete power supply on site. And I can see many people in farmhouses all over the world just putting this next to their kitchen and generating their own power from the waste that they're currently throwing away.
But are these mini units as easy to use as they seem?
If we look at the bags of pellets that we produce here, we need about 2 to 3 bags per day. So you can actually fill it by hand in the morning, have a complete power supply around the clock.
That's a lot of pellets. N-Trade's off-the-grid vision is still in its early phases. Questions like how much energy it would take for someone to actually make these pellets at home still remain. The company envisions communities combining their green waste and making their own biomass fuel. And they're also working to make these things affordable.
The 50 kilowatt unit that you find in a big container was initially about $5 million to build. We have brought this down to a retail price of $250,000. As the production numbers go up, we think we can offer this for the price of a small car.
N-Trade hopes that mini power plants like these could change the way cities and towns source their electricity, making them self-sustaining, and in some cases, cleaner.
You're going to have communities processing their own waste using its electricity, and it's totally going to revolutionize the way we're going to live.
For 10 out of 10 today, what looks like one of those plasma ball globe lightning thingies people put on their desks, but you wouldn't want to touch this thing. Chrysota milsae is its name. Being a jellyfish is its game. It was found by scientists aboard NOAA's Okeanos Explorer off the coast of Puerto Rico. They say the psychedelic-looking organism has its tentacles out in every direction so that it can feed from every direction. Sure, there are other animals with tentacles, but they're just jellies. And while this one is jellyfishing for prey, as long as it doesn't hydrozoan out, anything nearby ought to use a ton of caution, invertebrating itself if it gets too close, lest it lose its salt life. Who would have thought jellyfish puns would have been on the menu for our last show before Thanksgiving? We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoy the holiday ahead. And we look forward to seeing you next Monday. I'm Carl Azus.